Yeah, Rahul, we can start.
Sure. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, yes.
I'm audible. Okay. So yeah. So previously we are seeing with this example. So we have something a variable called number of cars, and we are assigning a value called 10. And then we are trying to print this value with this something string embedded with it, something called number of cars equal to my value, something which is my 10. So we had an error over here. We got it like cannot concatenate str on a non type of hint. So this is coming because this the value which you are having 10 is a string, and this is called something called is this is of string type. So we'll see what are the types we are having now. So basically we are having 3 to 4 types over here. So first one is which is our int, which is like number. So which is of number type, and which is having of value of 10. Okay, and the second thing is something called string. Okay, which is called as str string, which is something some value. Okay, uh, some name or something else. Okay, and you have one more type is called boolean, which is these are basic data types. So like moving on, we can see list and other things, but prior to that you need these are some of your basics things. So it is called next one is called boolean, which is your true or your false. Okay, and the difference between a JavaScript and in Python over here is in JavaScript you may have true with small t, but in Python you may have a capital T. So remember that. So in Boolean you are true and false. You are having your capital letter first. T and for F are having a capital letter first. So we got this error because we want to type convert, but basically we cannot convert a string with the integer value. So we want to convert our integer value into a string value. So what we are putting is this is our integer value, and we are encoding or embedding or we are wrapping into a string method. So this str method, what it is going to do for you is it is going to convert your 10, which is of your integer number, into a string number. So which is going to convert into a string, and then you are printing it over here. So this is how the type conversion is happening. And let's say you want to convert your things like, say you want to convert something from your, let's say I have a 10 over here and then I'm adding thing, and inside string I'm having one more 10 over here. So now we will have a similar error, which is also similar because now you are having an integer number over here, just int, and you are having a 10, but it is encoded into a double quote, so it is a string over here. So if you run this again you will get the same kind of error. So plus int and the string, so it is not format, like it is not allowed or unsupported operations. So what you need to do over here is you need to convert this 10 of string type to an integer. So to convert an integer to a string, you need to give something similar to this str of. To convert a string into an integer, you need to give like this int of. So what it will do for you is it will convert this 10 into integer. Like it is convert this in like 10 of string into the integer of 10. Then it will do the operations of plus. So now you don't see any error here. You can see 20 over here. So right now we covered three type of things. Like one is your type of data type, so which is the type of your values, so which is integer, string, and boolean. So we'll see boolean and carry on. So these are the three basic data types in Python. So you may have integer numbers and string, which is your some names, and you may end up with some boolean value, which is your true or false. So it is these are your basic data types. So if you want to convert a string into an integer, you need to give um, int of. So you want to convert from string to integer, and you want to do a vice versa, which is your integer into string. You need to encodes with your string. Okay, so choose your string value over here. So what we can do over here is we can declare three variables now. So it is my variable of int, which is 10, and this is my one more variable of string str, which is going to hold a string value over here. And we are having one more variable over here, which is called variable of boolean, which is going to store my boolean value over here, which is my true. So this is how you can store any kind of value into your variables. And one more feature in Python is like, let's say, um, this $1 fine. Let's took something called variable. So this is my variable. I'm assigning 10 to it, and again I'm giving variable equal to a string value. Okay, something called name. Okay, and again if I assign a variable with boolean, let's say false. So what it will do is it will reassign itself. So first it was like an integer variable, then it was a string variable, now it is a boolean variable. So it will reassign itself to a particular data type. You don't want to specify what is a particular data type you want to use on, and in future you can convert any type of variable into any type of variable. So now we are converting a int type of variable into a string type of variable in line number 39, and you are converting a string type of variable, which is your var, into a boolean type of variable in the line number 41. So you can convert a variable from any type to any type. So let's say you first you initialized a 10 integer value, then you are initializing a string to it, then you are literally initializing a boolean value to it. So it is possible in Python, so you can do similar to this. So these are a few things which are not possible in some kinds of language like Java, where you need to specify what this data type, what this variable type is going to be, either it is an integer or a string. And if you declared a particular variable in int, you cannot reassign to string. But in Python you can do these kind of activities, like this kind of features are supported in Python. So far, any doubts in variables? Like so far we covered this thing, and we covered some type conversion, basic type conversions. Any doubts so far? uh, yeah
Yeah, no doubts.
yeah, sure, thank you. So I hope you are clear with assignment and few things. And right now I'm just giving var. So these are all okay to give, but these are not recommended formats. So there is some naming conversions to give a variable name. So it should not start with something called number. So if you give starting with number, it will throw an error. So it should not start with a number. It should always starts with a character on the start, and you can have number at the end. Like you can have something similar two over here, something number over here. So those things are fine, but it should always start with a value, like with a character in the start. You can have a number at the end. And like if you want to, like let's say let's take this example. So you are going to save number of cars. So this is your number of cars variable. So if you read this variable name, you can get like, this is going to give me what is the number of cars which I have. So this kind of naming convention is needed. So if you see number of cars, there are three words over here. So we are separating three words using underscore, number of cars. So you can write similar to this. Okay. But this is something which is not recommended. If you read this kind of variables, you cannot get to know what it is, like in like when you are skimming your code, while you are reading so fast your code. So it is recommended to put something similar to this, like whenever your each word you are crossing on, you need to put some underscore over here. So this is for a Python specific, you need to put some underscore. And if you can see, like in higher level codes, they have written with separated with underscore. There's one thing. And it should not start with a capital letter. Like you should not give like this. You should not start with a capital letter. You should start with a small letter. These are all few naming conventions while you are giving the name to the variable. And you should not use a keyword. Like you cannot have a variable called print. Print is a kind of a keyword. You cannot use that. And you cannot have a variable called int. And these are some of the reserved keywords which Python is already having. So you should not use this. And you should not start with the something with a number. So these are few naming conversions. So while doing coding or programming, try to follow all these naming conventions. So these kinds of naming conventions are not good. So you cannot have something called var. So you need to specify what it is going to save. So let's say I'm going to save a name over here, and it should have a name. and it can be my name for instance. And if you are going to save your first name, you can put something like this, first underscore name. And let's say this is my mark. I'm a poor student, so I got only 10 marks, so this is my mark. And this is something like pass or fail, so I'm a fail. So you can like pass is a keyword which we are already having, so maybe we can save it as result. So this is the result I'm having. So you need to save similar to this. You cannot have where, var, or a, b, c, q, d, something similar to that. Don't just while you are doing from the scratch, avoid that, because those are not recommended. If you read the same code again after some few days, you may end up with thing like you don't even know what this q variable is meant to be, what this I variable is meant to be. Let's say to just type fast, I can name n as a name. I can give Ragal over here. But after some days, what you may end up is you don't know what this n is meant to be. So this is what the naming convention, like it should specify what is the value which is going to store inside that variable. And it should not start with capital. I will tell you what is the reason. So basically, this if you give something similar to this, it is saying like it is a class. So when we are taking class, we'll tell you why this is not okay. So you need to give it a small letter, and then it should having an underscore in between words, and it should not start with a number at the start. Okay, fine with the naming conventions, right? So if that is fine, we are good to go with like we are good with variables. We can move into next topics. And if you have any doubts in variable, like can you ask now? I hope there is no doubts. So now we know how to print a value, and we know how to add few values. Now the next step, what we know is we need to read, like we know how to add 10 plus 10. But in the real world, if you are writing a program for a calculator, let's say for example with a beginner code, so we want to write some calculators. So basically, at the end, what we need is we need to get few values from the user, from the end user. Like a user want to type 10 plus 10, or let's say you wrote a code for addition, it is going to add two values. So you need to read two values from the user. So you need to somehow read from values from the user into your program. So for that, we are in Python, we are having a function called input. Okay, this is my input function. So what this function is going to do is, this is the input, and you can give something called enter a value. So what it is going to do over here is, it is going to print that value, like this what it is encoded in this thing. It is going to print, and it is going to wait for a user input. Let's say I'm having like enter a value, so it is going to prompt, like in the command prompt, it is going to type something like enter a value, and it will wait for my value to be typed in. So once I type it, it will save into my variable. Let's say it is like uh, user input. So this is what the user input which I get, and then I'm just printing you have typed. Okay, user input. So for basic simple example, we are just reading a value from the user, and the next we are just typing like you have typed this value. So we'll just run that for running Python, and then our file name, and we should be in the current directory. So I'm putting enter. So I got a prompt of enter a value. Let's say I have typed something like 100, and I'm giving enter. So you can able to see over here is like you have typed 100. So right now in this example, what we are doing is we are just reading a value using this input function. So what this method is going to do over here is, what this function is going to do over here is, it is going to read, it is going to print this value which is inside this double quotes, and it is going to wait for a user input. Once you give the input, it is going to give that return value to this one. So this input, maybe I will go on. So we'll try to add few values. Okay, we'll try to add two numbers from the user input. Okay, so we'll get this is my value 1. Okay, I'm giving enter value 1, and this is my value 2. This is my second value. Okay, and what we are going to do over here is we are going to add two values. Okay, so sum equal to, so this is the sum. So over here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my input value 1 and then value 2. So this is my value 1 and then I'm putting my value 2. I'm adding two values. As you may already know, this is of type of string, and these two are my integer values. So this two are is going to be an integer value. So we already know we need to type convert into string. So we are giving this str over here. So up front we are giving, like, we already know this is going to be integer value, and the integer cannot be concurrented with the string. So we are giving this integer value over here. Okay, this integer value, like we are type converting the integer value into a string value, and then we are printing over here. So if I run this program, I will get an error now. So I will tell you what is error. So I'm giving 12, and then okay, I have forgotten to comment this one. Okay, not a big deal. I'm going to again enter 12, and I'm going to enter 10. Now I'm getting something called 1210. Okay, this is because, so if you see here, this input function is going to read and going to output into a string type, which is of str type, which is string type. So what this concatenation is going to basically do is it is going to add this two string, which is your 12 and your 20. If you add these two strings of 12 and 20, it is going to concatenate these two strings. As you may know already know, like if you concat two strings, it is going to sit behind that. So 12 plus 20, we are getting something similar to 1210. So to overcome this, what we need to do here is we want to type convert this string into an integer type. So we already know the method for that. It is int. So we give int of, so which is going to convert the value which we are going to get from the input. So if you read a value from the user, it will always be of string type. So if you want to do some mathematical operations like addition, subtractions, or multiplication, you need to type convert that value into integer. So once you convert that value using this int of method, now this 10 and 12 will be of integer type. Now if you add that, you will get like 10 plus 12 is something like 22, and then it will convert into a string type, because you need to add a string sum equal to and then your value, integer value, which cannot be done, which is not supported. So we are converting the integer value into a string value. If I run this now, and then I'm giving a 12, sorry, 12, you can see here sum equal to 22. So this is how we can read two values and then type converting it, because the same function is always going to give you a value written type of str, which is of string type. So we are converting it into a int, and then we are printing it over here. So any doubts in this one? Or if you want to reiterate this once again, I will do that. Okay, can I take that as no doubts and this is clear? Okay. Hope there are no doubts in input. So this is how we can use our input function to read a value from a end user or end user. Okay, so now we will see few things with the string functions. Okay, so this is also done. Can have is just allow my first name, just my I'll have my last name, just my these are my first name and my last name. So I want to print this into a concatenated way. So what I'm going to do is I want to print my first name plus of last name. So what this plus operation is going to do, so in addition, like if you see 10 plus 2, it is going to give us as 20. So if you give two strings and if you give this plus, now it will act like a concatenation operator. It will concat the both values from this my first name and my last name. So you can see something called Rahul, and I need to put a space over here so that it will come. Or maybe if you need to have a space, what you can do is you can have a concatenation also here, and you can give a space in this print function. So in the print line, I'm giving first name and I'm adding a space to it, and then I'm adding my last name to it. So you can see my first name and my last name is printing. Okay, this is a concatenation operation which is related to strings, and we'll go on with some string functions. Okay, so now we have a string called my first name. Okay, now I want to replace, or let's say someone has given this as I. Okay, I want to replace this I with my L. So what you can do is you can get dot replace. Replace is a method which is available inside this string. So these are called string functions, or like these are the string methods. What you can do is what is the value which you what is the old value which you need to replace. So this is my old value, and what is the new value which you need to replace of. This is my new value which I need to replace of. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this value and then we'll comment this not needed for now. So let's say someone has given something similar to this to a string, and you want to replace some value inside a string. So let's say you want to replace this I with the L. So what you can do is you can use this method. So this is the method called replace. What it is going to do is it is going to replace the first instance of I. So the first instance of I over here with my this value L. So let me run this one for you. So you can see my name is coming correct. So RAGUL. So it will replace the first instance of this first given word with the second word. So let's take something like AABB. Okay.
Can
Now
you declare directly like a string space first name equal to AAB?
can we declare something like string? Can you come again?
For string, there is a keyword, right? str. For int, like, can we give it directly there?
You want to give something like this?
No. Like int a equal to 10, like that. Can we give like that?
No, that okay. We're selling something like int a equal to 10
Yes.
and str of let's say b equal to 20, like, or I cannot say 20, some values over here. So this is something which is regarding to Java. Okay, over there you need to end up of giving what is the data type which you are going to store for a particular variable. What is the data type which you are going to give? Okay, in Python you don't want to specify implicitly what is the data type which you are going to use. Okay, in Python, let's say you want to store integer variable. Let's say we'll come up with a equal to 10. Okay, a equal to 10. You can directly give your a equal to 10, and if you want to give b equal to some string, you can directly give a string, and again you want to change your a equal to some string value, you can change it again over here. So you can give like this. Is that okay?
Yes.
So in Java you need to specify what kind of variable beforehand you need to use on that. In Python that is not needed. So you can, it is a dynamic type of programming language. You can give what is the value directly, and you can reassign to some other type also. So it is fine. If that is clear, we can move into string function. Or if you have any doubts, just ask me. I will clarify now.
No, nothing else.
Okay. So I hope that is clear. So I will have a first name, just A B B, and let's say I want to replace A with C. So what this replace method is going to do for you is it is going to replace this A into C. So this replace method is going to replace the first instance of A. The first instance of A is starting from here. It's just going to replace the first instance of A with the C. If I run this now, you can see, okay, it is weird. It has replaced both the instance, but it won't happen like that. I'm not sure what is happening. Okay. I'm pretty amazed. Okay, it is replacing all the instance of A to C. That is fine. I'm not sure what it is doing, but okay, it is replacing all the instance of A with C. So this is what the replace function is going to get for you. And these are few functions, string functions, which you may need. So these are type of string function which you may need in your string manipulations. So there are lots of string functions, like you can go and read, like there are lots and lots. Basically you may basic things you may read off as replace and this concatenation. So you need to concatenate the two strings. For that case you can use this one. So these are all few basics of string methods, and there are like lots of string methods. Like there is something called um, upper, and if you give upper, it is going to change everything into an uppercase. Like it is going to change everything into uppercase. You can see here, right? Every small letter is changed into a uppercase. Let's say we'll do a vice versa over here. We'll copy that AAPP. I'll give it here, and I give it the lower. So you have something, a string which is of all of uppercase, and you want to lower it down. So I can give lower. So what it will give us, it will change everything into lowercase and it will print here. So these and all, like this upper, lower, replace, and this concatenations are some of your basic of your string operations. So string methods which you will be using in your in the upcoming classes. So these are a few basic things which you are needed to move on. So any doubts in the string operations? I hope there is no doubts. And next one we are going to go with our comparison operator. Okay, so let's say you want to compare two things. Okay, what you want to do is you want to check whether my value A is equal to value 1 is equal to value 2 or not. Okay, let's take this classic same example over here. Copy it now. Okay. Value 1 equal to 10 and value 2 equal to 10. Okay. You want to see whether the value 1 is equal to value 2 or not. Whether this value 1 is same as value 2 or not. What you can do is value 1 equal to value 2. So what this value 1 equal to value 2 is going to give for you is, it is going to check whether the value inside this variable 1 and the value inside this variable 2 are same or not. If it is same, it is going to return you true. Okay. If it is not same, it is going to return you false. So we are printing it over here, right? So if these two values are same, so now our two values are same. So 10 equal to 10. So we'll get true over here. So we are getting this true over here. Let's say we are getting giving 10 and 12. Okay, maybe I'll go with new things. I'll copy paste it again. So in the first example, you see that those two values are equal. So you get 10 equal to 10 and a true. And in this example, you are going to see the value 1 is 10 and the value 1 is 12. So these two are not equal, and you are checking whether the value 1 is equal to value 2 or not. So now if I run this program, I'm seeing like value 1 is not equal to value 2 because 10 is not equal to value 2, 12. So we are getting like false over here. So this value is not equal to this value. So this is fine. Let's say you want to check whether the value 1 is not equal to value 2. So in that case, what you can do is, you have a value 1 is 10 and you are checking whether it is not equal to value 2. So you want two values to be different. So in that case, what you can do is you can use that exclamatory equal to. which is equal to not. This exclamatory is not, and you are saying checking not equal to. If value 2 is not equal to of value 1, which in the case 10 is not equal to true, which is now is false because 10 is equal to 10. So we'll get a false over here when I'm printing this, running this program, false. And I'll again give an example with two values of not equal values. So now your value 1 is 10 and your value 2 is 12. Basically these two values are not equal to, which means this condition is passed. Basically these two values are not equals, so my condition is passed, which will give me return back of true. So right now we have seen equal to and not equal to. So this clear, right? How we can check whether two values are equal or not equal. Okay. I hope these two things are clear. Now we need to see whether value 1 is greater than value 2 or not. So we take the same example and we'll give value 1 is 10 and we'll give value 2 is 9. So what we need to check is value 1 is greater than value 2. So this is the greater than symbol. So what we are going to give is value 1 is greater than value 2 or not. So if I run this program now, you can see true because basically my value of 1 is 10 and my value 2 is 9. So my 10 is greater than 9. And if I change it now, it will be false because 19 is greater than 10. So we are getting value 1 is not greater than value 2. We are getting a false over here. Okay. Now example for a less than. Now this is less than. So my value 2 is 19. So 19 and my value 1 is 10. 10 is less than 19. So this condition is true. So we are getting like true. So this is greater than and less than. Okay. So now we can see something called greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. Or I will have one more print over here. You have a value 1 and value 2. What you can going to see is you want to see whether the value 1 can be greater than value 2 or it may be equal to value 2. Okay, so the value 1 can be 19. In the case of 19 also it will return true because we are having a equal to over here, so it will be true now. Or if the value 1 is greater, let's say the value 1 is 20, even in this case it is greater than or equal to, so value 1 is 20 which is greater than value 2 of 19, so we'll get true. Okay, if your value 1 is let's say 2 which is like less than your value 2, so in this case you will get a false. Okay, so this is of greater than and greater than equal to, and you have something similar to less than and less than equal to. You have already seen less than, and you need to see less than or equal to. So we'll comment this to now. So now let's say value 1 is also 19 and the value 2 is also 19. We are having less than or equal to, so because of that we'll get our true because this value 1 is equal to value 2, so that condition is getting passed. If you give 18 of value 1, so value 1 is less than of value 2, so this less than will work on and it will return you true. Let's say if you are giving value 2 of greater value, which is like value 1 is not less than or equal to, so in this case will return false. So these are most of your comparison operator. So these all are your comparison, which is equal to, and not equal to, greater than or greater than equal to, less than and less than equal to. These are the comparative operators that are available in Python. So any doubts in this comparative operators? I hope there are no doubts so far. And if you have doubts of anything, which is like so far we have gone through like print statement, comment statements, and then operators. What are the operators available? What is a variable? how to read a input, what are the string functions, what are the comparison operators. So we have gone through 7 topics. If you have any doubts like in anything, just feel free to ask me now, right now, because moving on we are going to use if, while and for loops, and then some comparisons and other things. So this 7 things are your basic for all your others. If you are strong with this, so moving on, all the sessions will be too easy for you. So if you have any doubts in this basics, like anything like how to assign a variable, how these variables are declared, how to reuse a variable, addition, reading input, and any string methods, can you can ask right now. If there is no doubts, we can go into if conditions. Can I take it as no and there are no doubts so far? And can I move into the if conditions? Okay. So far, what we see here is this whole program is going to execute line by line. So there are no branchings. Like every line is going to execute at the end of the day. So it is going to execute each and every line one by one, and we cannot skip or we cannot specifically run some lines on that. So these conditions are over here to branch your code. Let's say you are coming to certain point and you see a left turn and a right turn. So if you want to go left side, you will go left side. So the right side of the road, you cannot see what is happening over there. You go left side and you go end up with the left side of road. And if you go right side, you don't see anything which is happening on your left side of your road, and you just see your right side. Or let's say you are traveling in a flight, you got a right window seat, so you may end up with seeing all your scenery which are happening in your right side of your flight. Or if you got it with the left side window screen, you will get like left side window seat, you will end up with seeing all the scenery which are happening your left side. So you now here a branching has come. So only certain part of a code is going to run and certain part of a code is not going to run for you. So this is what a branching is meant to be, and we are doing this branching on a condition. So if this action is met, go on your right side. If this action is not met, go on your left side. If this is coming, and go and execute to do that. So these kind of conditions are coming, right? So to do this particular conditions, we are having something called if conditions over here. Okay, so we'll we'll see what is a syntax for a if condition. So we'll see syntax over here. So syntax for if condition is your if, and this is your condition, and this is your thing, and this is your statement, and this is your syntax for if condition. So you need to give if, and what is the condition you need to give over here, and then your colon, and then you are going to put some statement over here. So we'll do some example programs with this one. I need a line for input. Okay. Okay. We are going to read an input from a user called age. Okay, we are going to read an input from in the user called age. Okay, enter your age. I'm saying like enter your age. So you got the age. So I want to see whether the guy is eligible for voting or not. So if age is greater than, so we are using this like this conditional comparison operator greater than or equal to 18. If it is greater than or equal to 18, that guy is going to eligible for my voting. So print this guy is eligible. Okay, I'm printing this guy is eligible. So let's say if this guy is not eligible, like which is in this case, if his age is less than 18, so he's going to go with this else block. Okay, so I'm telling this guy is not eligible. So first thing, what we are going to go over here is we are going to read the input from the user, and then we are going to type converting it, because we know age is of number type and we are converting into age, and then we are going to check whether the age is greater than 18. If your grade is greater than 18, which in the case, if this condition is true, it will go into this if block. If this condition is false, it will not execute this if block. It will directly go into this else block, and it will print the things which is happening over here, which is this is you're not eligible. So I will run this program right now. So it is asking my age over here, which I'm 20. So I'm getting eligible. Okay, I'm giving 10. Okay, I'm getting not eligible over here. So my age is greater than or equal to 18, which is my comparison operator. So once my age is, oh, you may already know what this greater than or equal to going to do. So if the value 1 is greater than this value which is on your left side, which is on your right side, then it is going to return true. In the first input, we are giving 20. So the 20 is greater than or equal to 18, which is true. So we are getting this eligible. If you are giving 10, in this case 10 is going to come and sit over in this age, and you see 10 is greater than or equal to 18, which is false. 10 is less than 18. So you can see not eligible printing over here. So any doubts in this one? If there are no doubts, I will cleanly explain you how this one is working. So I just told you this branching and this jumping into if and all happening, but how to visualize it? So we can debug a program. Debug in the sense is we put a breakpoint. A debug I will go on, like while going on through the session, I will tell you how to debug. So right now, just I'm putting a breakpoint. Breakpoint is some place where your code is going to come and stop this execution over here. So it will if I have a breakpoint in line number 110, so it will execute till 110 and it will stop into a breakpoint. Then overall we can see how this is happening. So to run it in a debug mode in VS Code, you have a debug option, run and debug. You click on that, and you have a run and debug. Click on that, and it is a Python file. So just click on that. So what it will happen is it will create a debugger session and it will run. So it is asking my age now. So let's say I'm putting my age of 18. Okay, I'm putting enter. So just because we are having a debug point over here, our code stopped over here, like the whole execution is passed over here. So this highlighted line is where the execution is pending. This execution is stopped. Okay, so in the previous example, like previous sessions, we have seen this is how you can assign a variable value to it. So now we assigned a variable called age, and we got the input from the user, so which is my 18. So in the left side you can see my age is showing and my 18 is showing. So this value which we typed over here is coming and sitting in my variable called age. Okay, clear. And now what we are going to do, we are going to check whether my 18 is greater than or equal to my 18, which is true. Okay, I'm just executing to my next line. So this is to execute next line. I will tell you how to debug in a detailed session. Just to visualize how this debug, like how this if condition is happening, I'm debugging for you. Okay, I'm just clicking this, go to my next line of code. So my next line, since because my 18 is greater than or equal to true 18, this two are passed, it is coming and it is executing this line, print eligible. So if I give this, it printed this line and the whole program stopped over here. Okay, so I will debug it again with an invalid input. Let's say I'm going to give it a 10. Okay, if I give it a 10, if I enter, and the whole program stops, or like passed over here, and now you can see my age equal to 10, which is what I gave it in my user input. So my age of 10. So now this is 10 and this is 18. 10 greater than or equal to 18, which is false, which is in the case is false. So the if will only execute this if block, which in the case the only thing which is written inside this if block only if this condition is true. Now our condition is false, so this 10 is not greater than or equal to 18. So if I execute this next line, it will directly goes into the else block. Because this condition is false, so it is going to print of not eligible and it will come out of the program. Okay, clear now with if and else, how this if condition is going to work for you and how this else condition is going to work for you? Any doubts? And in the previous classes, you have worked with JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript in if will be similar to this. Okay, you may have some parentheses, and you have some curly braces, and the curly braces will end here, and you may have a curly brace over here. So the curly brace will end over here. So this is how your typical JavaScript if else will be looking like. Okay, but in the case of Python, this parenthesis and all not like this curly braces are not needed. If you see here, we are giving a colon over here, so which is like this condition is done, and this is my colon. And if you want everything which is going to go inside the if condition, you have to give a tab. Okay, if you give everything which is inside a tab, if I wrote another print, okay, so print just saying like something like congrats, something like that, you can write over here everything which is inside a one indentation in the sense is one tab. So everything which is inside an indentation of this one is going into the if block. So if you see else block, we are giving a tab over here, so one indentation, so which is means everything which is indented inside the else is going to come inside your else block. So if I print end over here, so which is not indented, so indented in the sense there is no space, like it is not similar to this, so it is like similar to your whole main level. So this end is not going to be a member of this else block, it is going to be a member of this